Okay, welcome back to The View with Vertex, the final podcast of ScaffChamp 2025, powered by Layher. I'm joined by Tony Nicholson for the second time, actually, because we've already recorded one episode. This one is a little bit different because, right, I'll give the story a bit of context. So I'm sat in Sweden, funnily enough, and we're waiting for our connecting flight, me and Mark. And Jimmy P, so Big Dog, had shared on his social media page this video. And I was like to Mark, because Mark's not from a scaffolding background. And I was like, mate, you've got to see this video. Like, this is why when people say, don't fuck with the scaffolders, this is what they mean. And the video, which we'll cut into, so you can take a look, is of a scaffold with, I mean, to set the scene is like riot police. There's people down at the bottom of this structure. There's a lot of commotion and arguing going on. And then the next minute, this guy's just climbing up the scaffold,
loosening
up the outside, loosening all the ties. And I'm like, they can't be. Surely not. And then this thing just goes, it must be 7 lifts, 40 odd meters, gone. And I was like, what the hell's happened here? Have they not been paid? Is it some dispute over people not being treated fairly? Then somebody told me it was Denmark, right? So I'm like, well, who do I know from Denmark? And then I bumped into yourself last night thinking that you got, oh yeah, I heard about that or something like that. Mm-hmm. I did not expect what came next.
No, exactly. But it has been all over the social media. Some have seen it, some have not seen it and whatever. And the whole thing is like full of rumors and folk have disputed, is it pay, what is it? And it's also a combination of many things for the scaffolders in Denmark, what it is. So we all know they all drag the union in it or the scaffolders club or whatever it is. It's all about fair treatment all the way through. It's a sensitive topic for some of it. We know it. It's about union and whatever it is. But we have this called the Danish model that makes you have the right to bargain about what kind of rights, what kind of pay and all that shit you need to have. And we also put in like the safety aspect in it. And we make it as a law kind of based regulations. So they will say if you're going to come in and you're going to open a scaffolding shop or a company, you're required to give your guys the right technical aids, the right PPE, the right time they could only work this in these hours. You have the minimum pay of this. So there are clear rules for everybody to follow about.
And so it's like, if you want to work here, if you do this, this, and this. Well, I mean, we've got teams at ScaffChamp from Mongolia, from USA, from Chile, all over the world. And it's like, come to Denmark, do business, open a scaffolding company, but these are the rules.
I will not say come to Denmark. I say it's actually, we need you guys. So we have so much work at hand, right? The construction side is booming, and we are not enough scaffolders. So we need these guys to step in. But we need these guys to step in and at our terms, what we have bargained about and what we are. So of course they are all welcome if they can just adopt to our system and what it is. So if you come in and you put like 10 guys in the scaffold and they all pump it up and whatever it is, and the guys will have their winches and power winches and elevators and whatever they have because of the economical perspective and all these things we have bargained about. And that is like, if I'm putting a new guy into the business, I know I need to invest, like let's say, £10,000 in that guy because he needs a crane on a lorry. He needs to have some technical aid to transport his material in. He needs to have a powered winch or an elevator on it or something. That is just requirements and they are law-based. So if you come in from a different country, you don't have these things, but you just put more people on it or whatever, and we can't compete with that,
And we have to have like a level, fair playing field.
That is what it is. Yeah, exactly.
And so some people, I guess, will come in and do as they should and follow the rules and the example set. And in my opinion, you get to enjoy the things that you fought for, the things that you've debated for and made sure that are in place for your guys to be safe and well paid, etc. Not everybody's followed these rules, right?
No, exactly. And this is just taking advantage of our system or our good, how it's been built up. And we do this also to protect the industry, protect the companies, and protect the scaffolder himself, so we can make a fair amount of money. Everything is good. 1, 2, 3, there comes one in, can do it almost for free because he only pays this guy, what do I know, €5 an hour and whatever, and the Danish scaffolder needs to have 25 euros an hour. So we can compete with that. We need to have that, and everything is law-based and whatever it is. So we have no choice. Like, let's say you go to another organization, they only have guidelines or whatever it is, but here it's law-based. So if you get caught by the DWA, the Danish Working Environments, you will get fined if you don't require to these standards. That's basically it. So if we just look away and keep on let these guys do it for free or whatever they do, and you know how politics works and stuff, it takes time.
Yeah, a long time to debate.
And after that, it's just become a hooker market out there. Let me say it this way.
And somebody's dead.
Yeah.
Also, do you know what I mean?
That's the ultimate one, yeah.
Yeah, somebody could literally lose their life because people race to the bottom, we say. There's a race to the bottom. Everyone cutting each other's throats.
Yeah. But back to the video.
Not literally, but...
No, but that was the backstory of some kind of with union and whatever.
Yeah.
We see it on it. And this is like everybody, all the scaffolders are organized in one union, so we all stick together as a kind of society, brothers and sisters, take care of each other, and we bargain together.
Well, I hear this, and it's like, we're all together until something that benefits me, and then I don't want to be together anymore, right? So it happens a lot in, certainly in the UK, I believe.
All over the place.
And probably a lot of other places too. Yeah. And I think a lot of the time we talk a good fight. This was not talking a good fight.
Nope.
This was a real affirmative action. So just take me back to the start of that event.
Yes, they have their construction site. There is I can't remember where he was from. It doesn't matter where he was from. He comes in, he pulls out the job, he gets the job, he gets the scaffolding job, everything in. He starts.
So this guy comes from another country.
He comes from another country, pulls in, I think it was Copenhagen, pulls in there, gets his scaffold up, and we are kind of introducing us to him and say, hey guy, if you want to work here, make sure you're going to pay your guys this amount. That's fair. Everybody does that. You need to have these standards, and you need also to have these technical aids and whatever it is, and then you're fair, you're good to go. And I think he said, kind of, fuck you guys, I will take care of my own. I've won this contract, that's what it is. So we had some union guys, they were out there passing by the building construction. They were running up in the scaffold like 10, 12 meters high, whatever, with torches, in the headlamps.
So people erecting the scaffold, the guys from another country coming in at night with no PPE, no safety equipment, with the head torches.
With small head torches, no proper lighting, nothing. The scaffold was full of mistakes, big holes, whatever, handrails. There were so many dangers. So these guys I think it was from a union, they came by, they took some pictures, so they can send that in to the government and see, hey guys, we have somebody that can't comply with the rules, whatever it is. And the guys saw that inside them. So they pull up in the big Porsche Cayenne that's so famous now, and kind of beat him up. So he was kind of put away. He was pretty bad, baby. Yeah.
So the guy from
a union, a normal
from the union, wanted to have a conversation about, look, you really shouldn't be working like this, and they beat this guy up.
They beat this guy up because
he's badly.
Badly, yeah. So he was in what do you call it? An emergency room, everything, So
A&E,
Got. But after that, we have kind of called the scaffolders together. So from the scaffolders club side, we said,
were the scaffolders getting ready to mobilize?
They were mobilizing, but not on this premise. It was just more to get over there and demonstrate and show that we mean that. We mean by our safety standards and rules, and that you should apply with that.
And I saw the video. There was a guy, he pulls to the protest.
Yeah.
And there's like a lorry.
Yeah.
He pulls up in his lorry, and the guys are waiting for him.
Yeah, that's
and then he gives a speech, right? He gives a speech. This is not about violence. This is about
showing a message that we are sick of the politicians and the DWA and all that they're not pulling up and taking us seriously. We have law things in here, and there's all that combination that politics and all that stuff takes too much time in it. And they're just getting frustrated, the guys. So they want to pull up and kind of force the DWIs to come out there and really see what's wrong and find them or whatever, tell them that they need to stop the job and need to do it proper.
Yeah.
That is what it is. So they all did that. So they went in front of the construction site and they kind of stand there and want to give that message to it. But then this is where it then turned ugly, because these Polish guys kind of felt threatened. And I can see that if there suddenly stands, 500, 600, 700 scaffolders out
We're
there.
not talking, again, to be clear, we're not talking small numbers. It's like
No.
700 or 800 people.
Yeah, exactly. So they were turning up there and they felt threatened. So they start yelling at them. And suddenly one of these Polish or whatever construction workers threw a metal bar out in the crowd and hit some of the scaffolders, And then from there, it turned to a union message thing, demonstration, whatever, to pure violence. It's just folk have had so enough. They were fed up, tension were high, and that guy did that. And it was like...
And this is after someone's been beat up and put in hospital.
Yes. So they also figure out afterwards that they got a phone call that some of their colleagues from the union got beat up by these guys. So you can imagine the whole tension, what it is and why they did that. So, and he threw that metal bar and everything, and then suddenly it just went.
And the video I hear though, it's from nothing to like
10 seconds.
Whistles and people like this thing is coming about, and you could feel the tension bubbling up, and then crazy what happens next.
Yeah, exactly. But that was just a combination of people are fed up with government stuff and they're not kind of involving it. It's pure legislation, it is law. So you need to act on it. Nobody is acting on it because they don't have resources or whatever. So they're fed up with that. They have that guy that doesn't want to listen to us or want to follow our rules, all that shit. And then one of their colleagues have been beaten up for no reason. And he's not even a scaffolder. He's just a desk guy that takes the phone or something like that, He has been, and then they have also the courage to throw a metal bar into a crowd of 700 scaffolders. So it's like...
I was going to say, that takes either some balls or some stupidity.
But this is also important to say that's like, it goes from union work, a kind of a messaging, everybody is friendly, whatever it is, and goes from there to now we kind of doing violence, or it's what do you call it? Yeah, we want to fight now. So they started, so we're going to respond for that. So from there on, kind of all us that want to do the messaging, we went out in a car, got away, and the one that was fed up and was ready to go to war, they went to war, and they just said, now we're going to send pure message, I think, somehow, and then just went crazy.
And look, right, we're not sitting here condoning violence. Or
not at all.
At all.
And this is also.
However, at some point, enough is enough.
That is,
And you have an opportunity to listen. You have an opportunity to come and help us out. But people will take the law into their own hands if they don't feel supported by the people who are supposed to be there to enforce the standards, the law, the rules, the regulations. At what point do you say, look, we have to take the law into our own hands?
Should we just step back and watch it happen? Or should we actually, because it's our pay, it's our livelihood.
Yes.
They're taking away, they're kind of threatening. And that is what people are kind of being angry about. So we all know scaffolders, they're passionate about their work, they whatever, they want to protect it. And it's like, they are hardcore in Denmark about that protection and what we have fought for. We've just seen the study, from you get in and being a scaffolder, how long do you last? So you will last 7 or 8 years, then you're done. Your knees, shoulders, everything is done.
Yeah.
By providing these technical aids, ergonomical things, lighter material, whatever, we could raise that bar from 7 years to 12 years. It's just that works.
And we could create an environment where there's other roles, because we're so professional, because we're so focused on health and safety, and we're focused on doing things properly. It creates other jobs, right? It creates like the safety manager, it creates the training provider, it creates the design engineering, because we have a high standard, and those high standards need to support, right? They need
exactly.
people to support and get everything done, the right way. And then if people come in and try to upset that, at what point do you do have to say enough is enough? It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything quite like it. I really have not seen anything like that. I mean, there was a company in Manchester. I remember I won't say the company's name, but the guys didn't get paid right next to Christmas. And we still have it in us to do this kind of thing. So they park the trucks across the tram lines in the centre of Manchester.
Yeah.
And Manchester's a busy, it's a metropolis. It's a really, really big city. And they brought a lot of the city centre to a standstill because no trams, no trains could get into the city because they blocked the tram lines, and it was a dispute over pay. I feel like we're losing that. And as I say, nobody is condoning violence. Nobody wants to see things get ugly. But if people don't listen.
But if you go that direction and just watch and see what's happened, who's gonna win? Who's gonna take that over? Is that the guy who's cheapest? Is that the guy who's fastest? Or where are the requirements that we look for every day? So the standards, the training facilities, whatever. We want to do a high product for our clients. And it's not just the one who's using the scaffold, but also the one who builds the scaffold. So where do we want? And these standards also takes time and whatever effort and all that. But again, in the end, is it the money that talks?
It seems so. And you know what? Well, it's two things. Obviously, it's always everything seems to be led by money and finance and price and all the rest of it. And I feel like sometimes, most of the time, we're probably too reactive. So if you think about health and safety legislation in the UK, or things like you may know about this, it's a BS 5975. It's a code of practice for temporary works. That came about after a disaster, and it led to something called the Bragg Report. We had to wait for something like that for people to be killed in order for us to take action. Aberfran was a disaster where a mine, the side of a mine collapsed, and it crushed a primary school, and children were killed. And before that, there was no Health and Safety at Work Act. We shouldn't wait till that point. And like I say, nobody wants to see a scaffold get pushed over. That's not the safest thing to do in the world. We have to be
definitely not.
But
no.
I would rather a scaffold get pushed over and crush a bunch of cars than the people putting the scaffold up. You know, it falls over anyway and crushes a bunch of people. You know, or somebody falls off it.
Yeah, somebody falls off it because there are not scaffolders working up there, or the company's guy who's working up there. There were actually carpenters and bricklayers and electrician guys.
What kind of money are we talking? Because I know in Denmark it's quite an expensive place to do business. You know, what I mean, it can be an expensive market. The typical rate, as you said, for a scaffolder, maybe what, €25-ish?
Yeah, that's
per hour.
Yeah.
What kind of money was this company paying those guys?
I really don't know the numbers of what they were paying, but they were way under it. So I can't remember because it's also it's 3-4 years ago or something. Yeah. It's sometimes, but it's still on the internet. There's still on social media, and there's still rumors about it. You know, and it's just there is so much behind that, from getting to that point to tipping a scaffold over to really sending that message to see, do we need, as you just said, do we need to wait for someone to be killed before we're gonna set in, be proactive or anything else? And we can just see what's happening. So we don't want to go that way.
Yeah. It feels strange saying it. It does feel strange saying it. But I'm going to say it anyway. I'm going to, and if I get a bit of hate for it, I'll take it. Well done. Because at what point do you've got to put your money where your mouth is. And
it is not
800 guys is unbelievable.
It is not always pretty.
No.
And when you do case like that, it is both ways. It is both wrong and it is both, well said or well done or whatever it is. But you get your prime time in the news kind of to get your message out or what's wrong there. And people start kind of listening to it and see what's the issue. Why did they? So nobody tips a scaffold without a reason. Let's say it this way. And nobody should ever tip a scaffold over again. As that should be a scaffold. It should be safe. That is what it is. But again, sometimes you just need to get your message out.
And have we had some positive change as a result of this?
We have had, we have definitely had. And we have lots of different companies coming in and building scaffold in Denmark that comes from outside, comes from Germany or comes from Norway or Sweden or whatever. And they call up. They actually call the union or whatever it is and say, what do I need to be aware of if I'm going to enter here? So what kind of laws, what do I need to bring with that? And what is there? And is there a pay rate or whatever, a minimum rate or whatever it is? And then they stick to that. They sign their agreement, whatever it is, to the union and to these rules. They come in and they are still here. And they're having a good business and a good company and good pay and everything, So I don't see the problem. But it's always these guys that needs to push the line all the time. And we have them all over the place.
Yes. And that's life. There's always going to be a line, and people will try and push that line backwards. But we need people pushing back the other way.
I'm just happy that we kind of have enforced all our laws and all our standards by the law, as is regulated by law. So if you not comply with it, and you get kind of, if they see you're not complying with it or whatever, you will get fined. There is a consequence for it, and further hand they will shut you down. So if you're not complying with some of these rules, you don't have the technical aid. They will just come in and say, you will stop your work for today. They will close the whole building site down, whatever. You can't do anything. You need to do a report. You need to set up all these kinds of things.
And this is
that is the government.
The government will do that.
Yes.
And not the
Danish
union,
working
unless...
authority. They will come in and shut that down. And they will do that either with police force or on their own, you know. And then you need to take that whole thing up and see how can I do it right. And if I can't do it, then another company needs to come over and take over.
Yeah.
That is basically, and that is so fine. And then that is what I'm really looking forward to. That it's law regulated. So if I'm kind of looking over to UK, let's say it this way, you have lots of guidelines or whatever it is.
Yes.
But
they're not always followed, though.
No, I'm not required to.
Yeah.
I'm not required to follow it. But if it's regulated by law, you're required to.
Yeah.
That would say training facilities or training. What kind of knowledge do you need? What kind of qualifications do you have?
There is quite strong law, legislation around, health and safety and around working at height. In the UK, we have the work at height regulations. These are, rules that people have to follow.
Yeah.
They're very prescriptive, that you've got to do this. But, there's always going to be people who don't do it. And the way that we enforce, we have something called the Health and Safety Executive. And the Health and Safety Executive, it's their job to, they use a method of funding called fees for intervention. So in other words, they generate money by finding people. So it's in their interest to fund themselves to go out and find fault. However, and this is where it gets complicated, if you set up a scaffolding company tomorrow and you've got 2 guys, 1 van, a little bit of material, nothing in the bank, right? And they fine you, how much money are they going to get?
Oh, nothing.
Not a lot,
no.
Right? And these are the guys who generally are the guys who are doing it wrong a lot. But there's no, because of this fee for intervention, there's no point to find those guys. So instead, they go after the big companies and, you got a damaged ladder. This is, maybe not quite that bad, but they go for the low-hanging fruit. The people who are going to be easiest to take to court or to fee, for intervention and to recover some costs from. It's backwards. And what I love about what you guys have done in Denmark is you didn't wait for permission. You didn't wait for the government to help you out and go, you've gone, well, we need to sort this out, because if we wait for you guys to sort it out, it may never come.
No.
So we get in there and we form Danish Scaffolders Club, like a union, and we go, these are the rules, we set the rules. Your law can say whatever it wants, but we set the rules because we know scaffolding, right?
And I also think if you take that day and that Polish guy, whatever he was, he didn't throw that metal bar into the crowd. I think these guys have waited for the Danish Working Environment Authorities to come into, and then they could show them what's actually wrong and what should be better here, and they could shut that building site down and do it wrong. So I think that there could be another twists about that, what could happen that day if he had it. But if it turns into pure violence, that was not the greatest thing.
Not the greatest thing, but now people are listening, and the story is 3 years old, and it's the first time I've seen it, but it just seems to be repeating. So hopefully, it gets another bit of coverage, and people talk about it, and we get the right result. That may have been the wrong result, or part of the wrong result, with scaffold being thrown to the ground. But
we can totally agree on that.
Yeah,
that's the wrong way to do it. But again, enough is enough on somehow, and I think many of these guys have been fed up for some years, and suddenly it just makes boom.
What we need to do is, because this is all fascinating stuff, I think we need to come to Denmark and we need to see this. We need to meet the Danish Scaffolders Club. We need to talk to the guys, talk to the union, and see how things really are. Would you be up for that?
Now I'm not a scaffolder anymore. I'm a design engineer. So I'm not a scaffolder anymore. I'm not part of the Scaffolders Club anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been there for 10 years, everything, until I switched jobs. So I'm not a scaffolder anymore. I'm employed in a different way. And if you're not a scaffolder, you're not in the Scaffolders Club, That's how simple it is. So it is just a locked one. So things, of course, they will greet you or whatever, put you in and have a toy chat with you or whatever. So you just need to reach out for them. So I can just talk from my experience before that, when I was in that club and everything. So that is how they did it. And I've not been a part of it for 1.5 years now. Yeah.
You miss it as well?
Of course, because it is a brotherhood, a real brotherhood where people take care of each other. It's not like now I'm missing the money or anything and I'm going to do my shit and everything. No, we're backing each other up. It's like when people don't get paid, we're gonna have the guy out. We're gonna get him paid. We're gonna get him sorted. You know, rules are rules. You have to pay. That is it. So who's gonna break these game's rules? We're also gonna enforce it.
Well, rules are there to be enforced. The referees are out there enforcing the rules. I'm looking at the screen we've got in the background, and we're close to the end of the event, so we'll wrap this one up. You've seen most of the teams compete now.
I've seen it.
Who do you think has got this?
That is hard to say. Also, we had some good teams. We had Hungary. They were fast as fuck.
Hell.
Yeah, exactly. Hell, yeah. Say it this way. But again, it also comes down to how many penalties, whatever they have. Then we also saw a lot of teams that really didn't do that base quite good, and they were like struggling to get these things in, and they didn't get.
There was a lot of
horizontal things in and not leveling and whatever.
Some ledges look like braces.
Exactly. Now you can see right now they're showing the guys from End Project from Poland that won last year or something. You know.
Yeah.
They were not on their top game this year.
You don't think?
No, I don't think. We have AK. They did a great job. Right beside that, the American team also did a great job. And for my sake, so I'm always curious for the Mongolian.
Yeah.
I think they're awesome.
Do you know what I like about the Mongolian team? I was saying this outside.
Humble.
They get better every year.
Yes.
They get better every year. They're not like some teams thought, wow, we've got this. We've won it before, and maybe switch off a little bit. They're getting better and better.
They're picking it up. Yeah.
I think maybe this year, maybe their year. If I had to do top three, I don't know which order I would say, but I think R and DV. And if they do, and they did it from the first round, that would be amazing. Very impressive. And then it's either the American team or the Mongolians. So they'd be my top three, but only time will tell. Okay. I hope it's AK Scaffolding, but
I have them on my board. Yeah. Mongolian, AK, I think they look strong. And I didn't see how the Americans did, but I really hope that they put the words the right way. You know, they're always good at bragging, so let's see what they can do.
Yeah,
they're here now, but just that they're here now is just a shout out for them.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
Yeah. Right, second time, but thank you so much for coming on. Again, thanks for sharing that story, because the hairs on my arm were standing up as you told me about what had happened. I've never heard or seen anything quite like it, and the fact that you wanted to come on and share the story about it, big shout out to you, and thanks so much for doing that.
No problem. It's just a pleasure, and it's just if you see these videos, you only see 13 seconds. It's just a shame that you don't hear what's behind the whole story. There's so much more. And thank you for letting me sharing this, and I hope people will take it for notice, so that we still need to fight for our rights, and not only just watch and let it happen.
Yeah. Perfect sense of the show, man. Thanks so much for coming on again.
No problem.
I truly hope you enjoy this episode. If you do, all I ask is that you like, subscribe, and get notified every time we drop a new episode.